Earth is flat. And I don't even mean that in a facetious manner. I mean it in a very, just matter of fact, it's flat. Now, how can I prove it to you? Well, to this date, no one has ever proved that the Earth is round. There are certain phenomena that occur on this flat Earth that can't be denied. One of them is that water seeks its own level. So from California to Europe, Philippines, to China, to Russia, to England, all that water is, for the want of a better word, flat. There are occurrences where there are swells in the ocean, but for the most part, it remains flat and level. And this has even been proven by the United States Navy, because they have a laser that can shoot 90 miles across the ocean at a target. I don't know what the weapon's destructive power is at 90 miles, but it can shoot 90 miles. So it might be on a battleship that's 75 feet higher than the water level, and it can shoot 90 miles away and hit another ship. Didn't say whether it could cause damage or not, but it can be seen from 90 miles away. So I don't want to go through the calculations of that the Earth would have to curve so many feet per mile, but it would be miles of curvature at 90 miles away. So if the laser beam shot straight, the ship that it hit would be miles below the horizon. That's a fact. So in addition to that, I have a video that's strictly pilots speaking. No, they're in the cockpit of the aircraft. They're talking to a specific fella that's asking captains of aircraft and flight engineers, is the Earth flat, and do you have a declination downward while flying across the ocean or the Earth? And they all agree that it's 100% flat. Now, these are real captains with real faces. So what I want to do now is I want to go get you that video. Well, I'll just show it to you. It's on Facebook. Let me get rid of this. So these are real people in real life, real captains speaking the truth about the question, pilots confirming the Earth is flat. So let's, without further ado, let's play this.
You're the pilot?
Hi.
How long have you been flying for?
Like for Delta, 21 years, but maybe like 30 something.
I want to...
So here's a captain that's been flying for Delta for 21 years. I'm going to give you the link. But so a total of 30 years flying, and he agrees. I'm trying to get the link. He agrees that the Earth is flat. And there are several more, and I won't talk about each one as we go through it. I'll just play the video clip. It's about 2 minutes long. Okay, let's do it again.
No, because they say the pilots know a lot. Do you think the Earth is flat or no?
I know it's flat.
You know it's flat? How long have you been flying for, you said?
Over 30 years.
And when you tell people that, do they think you're like crazy or no?
Only one person.
Only one person?
They built it for a flat, stationary Earth, and my goal is for some young fighter pilot to listen to what I just said, go out tomorrow and set the bottom of your L-strobe on your altitude, run it out there to 80 miles, and that bottom altitude on your cursor will stay the same.
Are you a pilot?
Yes, sir.
One question.
Okay.
When you descend in the air,
Yeah.
do you dip or do you go straight?
It's straight.
Straight?
A little more with the nose out. That's it.
But straight. You don't dip
Yeah.
into the...
No.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate
You're
you.
welcome, sir.
Have a great day.
Did you notice any curvature while we were up there?
Curvature, no.
No, there's no curvature?
It's just all flat.
The pilots, is the Earth flat or round?
Pregunta controversial. Hay un debate ahora en YouTube especialmente en el que las personas se cuestionan que si la curvatura de la Tierra es observable o no es observable. No.
Or is it global?
It's flat. This is flat. Thank you very much, mate. God bless.
A man asked the pilot if the Earth is flat.
Can I talk to the pilot, please? You're the pilot?
Hi.
How long have you been flying for?
Okay.
Like for Delta, 21 years, but something like that.
So now these are real pilots. Now I'm going to give you the link for that video, but I'm also going to talk about some of the friends that are on my YouTube channel that you've heard people say that Fazio's friends are nuts and they're crazy and that Fazio believes the earth is flat. No, I don't believe anything. I know it's flat. So when you get a clown like Don C, you know, even Don C, he knows it's flat. The man might be an idiot, but he's not stupid. He might be a clown, but he's not stupid. There is so much proof in this world that the earth is flat that you could argue the point, but you can't prove the point that the earth is round. You could argue that the earth is round, but as hard as you argue that the earth is round, there's no proof whatsoever of that. In fact, there's more proof to the opposing side. Now, I'm being serious about this. So let me open up my home page here, and I'll give you the link to that video where you could see for yourself, if you want, that, in fact, the earth is flat. But then I'm going to tell you about a few friends of mine that run on my channel that you don't know who they are, but I do. They're on my channel. Now, I've said to you before many times that the people that mess around with John Blaze, the people that you people think that you're smarter. I got to write this down. Pilots, P-I-L-O-T, that state the earth is flat. See, I'll put the link there. Now, I've told you for a long time that John Blaze has a very prestigious job, and you made fun of that. Why, I don't know, but have I ever lied to you? That would be a better question. So when I said that he's a lot smarter than you're going to ever give him credit for, and that he has an extremely, extremely prestigious job with a lot of respect in his field, and I know why, because he still didn't say why he has all that prestige. But his latest video shows him flying a dual-engine, dual-prop helicopter that burns 1,000 liters per hour. So if you were smart, if you had the ability to do any kind of research, you could figure out what helicopter he flies. I won't tell you, because it's simple enough, but you people don't know how to use Google. You don't know how to do any research. He's already shown you the cockpit, the instrument gauges, and the configuration of the instrument gauges. It would be simple enough to Google what kind of helicopter he flies. But so I told you that there are multiple pilots, friends of mine on YouTube. We all agree the earth is flat. Now, I didn't say the earth is flat because I have multiple friends that are pilots. I didn't care what they thought, because I know that the earth is flat, and if I know it, then they know it. And so does everybody else that's ever passed a captain's license, for whether it be nautical, marine captain's license, or aviation license. No. Police, I don't believe police have much bigger helicopters. John Blaze flies something much bigger than police helicopters. and much more powerful. No, he does not fly for the police department. But I've told you that I have friends that believe the earth is flat because they are pilots, but I didn't need their confirmation. Although at this point, I have told you that there were at least 3 friends of mine that fly commercially, and they're captains. John is one, and then there were 2 more. The other one flies anything big, anywhere in the world. That's the second one. But they don't want to know who. We're never going to mention who they are. John decided to come out and show you his real career, or one of his lifestyles. The other fella is a fighter pilot, retired. He knows the earth is flat also, and he wouldn't like me to give out his information, so I wouldn't do that. Now, as I showed you 2 weeks ago, I have my captain's license for yachting, all right? And I had to pass the captain's license to get that certificate that I showed you. Now, I know that some of you don't believe it, and if there is somebody here that doesn't believe it, I have it over there. I'll retrieve it for you, and I'll show it to you again, my United States Coast Guard captain's license. Now, the proof of this is that the United States Navy has this laser that shoots 90 miles across the ocean. So if that's possible, and they can hit a target from 90 miles away with a laser beam, light does not bend. You're going to get this, you get a moron statement from somebody like Don C. that light follows the curvature of the earth. It doesn't. Now, I didn't say that Don C. said that. And I'm using Don C. as an example because if you looked at everything he's ever said, the thousands of comments that he's made that are totally useless statements, some of them are true, some of them are half-truths, most of them are made-up fallacies. I don't know that he's right in the head. I could say he's not right in the head. I don't know that he's not right in the head. All I know is that a grown man that's retired, that leaves comments on every video, every day, everywhere, all the time, and then goes back and argues the point of his worthless comments, is not much better than than Alo's friend Mambozo. They're like two peas in a pod. You know, you got a guy with secure income in his 60s with a wife and a car and a house and all that other stuff, and he's on YouTube 3 or 4 hours a day sometimes. But that's cool. I mean, if it would be cool if he was making videos, but all he does is leave stupid comments. So he can't prove anything. He said that FAZIO is crazy because he believes the earth is flat. Okay, so let's just say that John Blaze flies a helicopter that's worth, let's just throw a number at it, $20 million. Okay, it's not the price. But let's just say he flies a $20 million helicopter. Don't you think that he would know if the earth is flat? But moving past that, then you have another friend of mine that flies the big jets, jumbo jets, anything that's big and worth over $100 million, and he believes the earth is flat. And then you have another friend of mine that is retired fighter pilot who has had nuclear clearance. So in other words, his training involves where he could have had access to nuclear weapons. And don't you think he would know if the Earth is flat? So could I prove it? Yeah, I could prove it if they said, Mike, just tell them who I am. But they don't want to. They don't want you to know who they are. I never thought John would ever come out with who he was and what he did. Why he did that, I have no idea. But being that he did, I asked him. I said, "Is it all right if I talk about it?" He said, "Yep. I'm going to let them know little by little what I did." So in his last video, he was not just flying an aircraft. He was flying, but his purpose to fly that aircraft through the valleys, over the mountains, and then to land was to check out. He has to get checked out for certificates. So there's all different types of certificates. And then once he's checked out, he in turn can train other people once he gets checked out. There's almost an unlimited amount of certificates you can get for flying. You can have, you get single engine, then you get double engine, then you get instrument rated, then you go from piston engines to jet engines, single, doubles, and it just goes on and on. Then as you get more hours, then you can become a trainer or a pilot teacher to have students, and then you can teach instrument rated. There's all kinds of things, but in John's profession, that's a whole nother level of certificates. That all that stuff I just mentioned, he's been through that years ago. He's way beyond that. And I won't tell you how far or what he does or why and who he does it for, but I will tell you that there's not much that he can't do in the air. So I'm going to show you another document from NASA. And NASA is perfectly clear on this. It's the, if you look up NASA, NASA 1207. And we're going to do that together right now. And I'm going to show you what that's going to show you and how to see it. But first, I'm going to turn this around for a moment. I want to do something on my my channel, and I don't want you to see it, actually, what I'm going to do on my channel. So just give me a moment, because I had the live stream going, and I just want to make sure of the settings I put the live stream on. And then I'm going to talk about my drone and what we're going to do with that when the wind stops. Right now we're in that Cyclone Betty, and there's a lot of wind here. You did not see the wind that I saw yesterday because, all right, let's turn this around. Let me get up on top of the screen here. What you didn't see and what I saw. Okay, so my drone is a Mavic Air 2S, but let's look this up. Let's look up NASA, NASA 1207. Okay, let's look that right there. Let me get that in line for you there. 1207. Let's click OK. Now we're going to go down here to it could be the first one or the second one. I'm familiar with the second one, which is the same as the first one. It's the 1207 document. So let's click on of a linear aircraft model. So when it says what this means for people that are not pilot, linear means a horizontal line, straight across, like straight across the ocean. Not vertical, linear. Linear is a straight line. So it's for straight line flight or flight level. You could say it a couple of different ways, and any pilot would know what you were talking about. So it's the derivation and definition of linear aircraft models. So this is going to show you what linear flight is and how you can adjust your pitch your roll, your yaw, the different axes of the aircraft, and how to know to utilize those axes when coming in for a landing, taking off, or flying. So this book gives you all the options and all of the information about the different flight axes. And you have roll, pitch, yaw, and attitude. Okay, so this will give you, but we're gonna be concerned on how to land an aircraft. And that's the very first, I clicked on this, that's the very first chapter under introduction. So now it's going to open up the NASA reference 1207. And like I said, derivation of and definition of linear aircraft models. So you're going to have, who wrote the book? Eugene L. Duke, Robert F. Antonowicz, and Keith Cranberry. Okay? And this book was written for NASA in 1988. Okay, now when you get down towards past 1988, you're going to come to the table of contents. Okay, so the vectors are what angle you're approaching or leaving the airport. Let's say you were coming into an airport, you'd vector towards heading like 119, okay? And it gives you the definition of vector on page 4, okay? Now, nonlinear system equations. Okay, this gives you all the different flight modes that an aircraft will go through during flight. But we're not going to get involved with that right now. That's just a little bit more advanced than what we want to do. We just want to get to the basic truth about how to land an aircraft or take care off with an aircraft. So we're going to go to the first page where there is writing. This report documents the derivation and definition of linear aircraft model for a rigid aircraft. A rigid aircraft is a plane with wings, a jet aircraft with wings, as opposed to a balloon, which is not a rigid aircraft, or a blimp, which can be either one. A blimp can be a rigid aircraft if it's made out of aluminum, or it could be non-rigid. But this is for rigid aircraft of constant mass flying over a flat, non-rotating earth. Now, they throw the constant mass in there, which means that the aircraft itself maintains its weight. So if the aircraft takes off and it weighs 15,000 pounds, the aircraft doesn't change its weight. The fuel may run dry in the tanks, or you might dump fuel or have water that you use in the bathrooms and dump it over the ocean. But the aircraft itself remains a constant mass. Now, the linear aircraft model for a rigid aircraft of constant mass flying over, now it's in the first sentence, flying over a flat, non-rotating Earth. So it's the very first sentence of the summary of this entire book, 1207. So this entire book is summed up: how to take off, how to land, how to navigate, how to vector, how to crab, how to ascend, how to descend over a flat, non-rotating Earth. So I would like to see Don C. explain this, because he's so smart, he knows everything. I would like to see Don C. just tell us anything about flight and or navigation over the water, because they're the same. It's the same test. Flight training, map reading, plotting a course in the air or for flight, and plotting a course in marine over water. Same exact equations. You summarize where your points are with waypoints and vectors, or excuse me, decimal points off different parts of what is stationary, or the lines of longitudinal and lateral that have been made for flight or for the Earth, otherwise known as what the heck are they? I forget the name of them. There, the lines that come from the supposed North Pole to the South Pole, and then or from east to west. You have two sets of lines, and those lines are how you control minutes and seconds where you are in a ship or in an aircraft. Someone wants to correct me on the names of those. Latitude and longitude. Latitude and lats and longs. Lats and longs. Okay, so we're there. So this whole book, sum it up in one sentence, is about flying over a flat, non-rotating Earth. Now, this derivation, which means this explanation, makes no assumptions of references, trajectory, or vehicle symmetry. In other words, it doesn't have anything to do with the aircraft. It's just facts of how flight works in regards to taking off and landing and navigation. Whether it's a boat or an aircraft, the tests, the numbers, lats and longs are exactly the same. There's no difference at all when plotting a course. The difference, there are some differences in the words they use in flight. When you have a crosswind, it's noted or denoted as drift, D-R-I-F-T. However, on marine, it's also noted as drift. So those are the same things. When you are flying along a coastline, it's called tracking the coastline. And what they do is they find a straight coast, like we might fly over Virginia Beach, which is pretty straight, and then you track the beach. Now, then you're not just tracking the beach when you're flying, but there might be a crosswind. So you're crabbing, angling, vectoring into the wind, maybe 12 degrees. So the plane is facing usually the ocean. The plane is facing the ocean because the wind typically comes in off the ocean, but it's flying straight parallel to the shoreline. That is called crabbing, C-R-A-B-B-I-N-G. It's the same, denoted the same for a boat. But they do have some different terms that they use. And some of them, they're all interchangeable, but a pilot will use one specific term, and it'll mean the same thing for a captain of a boat. It's just that they use nautical and aviation words. So the linear system equations are derived and evaluated along general trajectory and include both aircraft dynamics and observation variables. So that has to do with what I just explained. Variables are the wind. It could be, now not only is there wind up in the atmosphere, but there's also drift in the atmosphere. So and the same as on the ocean. The ocean has a current, that would be drift. The atmosphere might be moving at 10 nautical miles an hour from east to west. That's drift. But then there could be a different headwind that is the whole mass of air, everything you're in for 100 miles around you is moving. That's called, and you're moving with it, that's drift, D-R-I-F-T. But there also could be a headwind in the drift. So the drift is the whole of atmosphere. The wind is what you're going to crab into to maintain a certain course or vector that you have a heading. So if you were heading on a compass heading of 180 degrees, the drift is going to move you from right to left or left to right, but the wind is going to, you have to crab into the wind to maintain. Your airplane wants to go at 180, but there's a wind. You have to crab into the wind and the aircraft is going straight. That's the simplest way I can explain it. It's not real complicated, but it's, if there were, just to give you an idea, for my captain's course, it was 30 days of theory, 30 days of school, took 3 months. So 3 months of school for my license, and 3 months of school, plus you had to have a certain amount of hours in a vessel. So I had owned my own vessels that were documented, aka Barge Dragon, that I have a documented history with the United States Coast Guard, that I brought Barge Dragon from Traverse City, Michigan to New York City, 1,700 miles, with my name as the captain and the owner of the barge. So that is documented of time on the ocean. Then at that point, I had several months on the Hannah Marie and the Catherine Marie in Key Largo that their captains signed off for my time. And then I had several more months on the Captain Jimbo, and he signed off on my time. Then I had my own vessel, which was considered a yacht, an ocean racer, called Good Friday. And then I had so many documented hours, and the Coast Guard acknowledged that I was the owner of the vessel and the captain of the vessel, because I got the boat certified by the Coast Guard in order that it makes things simple. I got the proper fire extinguisher, I got the proper life jackets, proper anchor ropes, proper lights, proper torches, flares, all that stuff. That makes, so my boat was certified by the United States Coast Guard, so I had a certified boat, and all the hours that I put down on my documentation goes towards my captain's license. You just can't take the test. You have to have documented hours. And then if I needed more, I could have got weeks dredging to put down several months of a deckhand for my father's tugboat. So now, when you get to that point, you have to know a little bit about how to navigate. The Coast Guard license is not just navigation. It's safety, protocol, navigation, emergency procedures. You also have, I got a first aid. You have to know CPR, and you have to be able to do basic first aid for coughing, the Heimlich maneuver, things like that. So in order to get your captain's license, you had to take 2 or 3 other sub-tests. Well, so I think there were 26 students in my class. Hold on, let me go back to my channel so I could see if there's any comments or anybody's trolling me. Imagine that. They like to do that. So I'm going to go over here now, and we'll get to the video. So I don't think there's any comments. There is. Okay, so let me check that comment out. Okay, just one from Peter V. Jr. I hope John Blaze is not a police chopper pilot. No, he's way he's way past that, Peter. Way past that. So 26 students in my class. We all had the same hours of training, because if you miss a class, you have to make up another class. Now, there was a class in Key Largo and there was a class in Miami. So if you missed a class on Tuesday night in Key Largo, that instructor would be having a class in Miami the next night or 2 nights later. You had to go to Miami and make that class up. You could not miss a class. So I was 2 blocks away from the Holiday Inn where the class was. So I didn't miss any classes. So now you do your training, you put in your certificates for whatever they wanted you to do. I don't remember every detail, but I remember you had to do CPR and the Heimlich maneuver, safety equipment, and tourniquets, things like that. So when we went to take the test, and there's map reading. Map reading is big. Map 30 hours, 30 classes, 45 hours of theory about maps and all that other stuff. So we get to take the test. You get a map, no calculators. Everything was done with a pencil and paper. No slide rules, no calculators. You had to do it. You had to know how to do it. So out of the 26 students, myself and 2 other people passed. I ended up with a mark somewhere in the 90s, 92 or 93, I think it was, but it was a high mark. And I was finished 45 minutes before anybody else, because I knew the work. I watched my dad plot courses my whole life. Not that I would remember that now, or even remembered it then, but I knew it was possible. So, and my dad would show me a few things with the parallel slide rules and things like that. So I was done long before the class was done. And the teacher even said, he goes, "Is there a problem?" I said, "No, I'm done." "Are you sure you want to check your work?" I checked. I said, "I'm done. I checked my work." So he gave me a mark. Before the class was done, he put his overview on top of my test. I think it was a 92, because I get the 92 and the 93 mixed up, because for my airframe license, I got a 93. 100%. I got a 93 on my airframe license, which was a 6-hour test. And I didn't get such a high mark on my power plant license, though. It was 78. It was in the high 70s, but I was surprised because I thought I aced it. But 78 is passing, and I got my power plant license. I don't know what that means. You finished early doors like Be More Run mongering. I have no idea. I've never watched a Be More Run video. I don't know what he does. I've never really watched. I hear about those people's names, but I don't watch them. So when I handed in my paperwork, I went out outside. I don't know. I went to the pool. It was right in Holiday Inn in the area there. It was a room there in Holiday Inn in Key Largo. Anyway, I passed. So 2 other people passed with minimal marks, and then we got graded that same day. Everybody got graded, and then there were people that were like hysterical, crying, men and women that just couldn't. They got 40s or 30s on the test, and they were going. And it was all navigation. It was all plotting with minutes and seconds and latitudes and longitudes, and that part is a little bit hard because it just is. It's not easy. It's just a lot of memory. It's a lot of math is what it is. So if you're not good at math, you're not going to pass it. So I did get a captain's license. I did pass it the first time. I did fly airplanes, whether you believe it or not. As soon as I find my flight book, if I still have it, I'll show it to you. And that's all documented with the FAA as well. So moving on, everything that I've ever learned about straight and level flight is that once you set your gyroscopes for flight level, the plane stays level. It doesn't follow the contour of the Earth, because there is contour. I mean, if there's a mountain and you set your gyroscopes at flight level at 500 feet and the mountain is 1,000 feet high. DNC, thanks for stopping by. You have to understand that gyroscopes don't compensate for anything. Could they? Yes. They have automatic or auto flight, where the gyroscope flies you at straight and level, but then there's another instrument called an altimeter that's attached to a computer. So the altimeter is attached to your auto navigation system, and the altimeter says that you're flying flight level at 500 feet. Now, you're flying over the ocean, so you know when you fly from one end, no matter where you fly in the ocean, if you're 500 feet, no matter if you fly 1,000 miles over the ocean, you're at 500 feet. So if the Earth was curved and you flew straight, you would fly into the atmosphere because the Earth would be dipping down. So that there is no curve in the Earth. That's my point. So, but if you were flying over land and you were flying over Ohio, which is a pretty flat state, and there's a mountain range when you're coming into Michigan, and you're flying at 500 feet over Ohio, you're okay. But as soon as you get to the mountain range in Michigan, the gyroscope does not change the height of the aircraft. But if you have the altimeter hooked up to the computer, the altimeter will say that we have to ascend. But the gyroscope remains level. So you fly straight and level. Your plane might go up like that until you go over the height of the mountains, and then the computer will let you go straight and level again. But there's no compensation whatsoever with the gyroscope. So once you set the gyros in a submarine, a boat, a ship, or an aircraft, once you set the gyroscopes to head in one direction, that's the direction that it goes to. If there's something in the way, you need to have a navigational computer to move the ship around it, fly over it, or in a submarine, if there's a rock formation, you'll pilot your boat right into the rock formation. You need to have other instruments, but for normal flight, for normal navigation, for normal boating, the NASA 1207 says the Earth is flat, non-rotating, and stationary. So are you going to argue with a book that trains pilots for the Air Force, the Army, the Navy, the Coast Guard? You're going to argue with that book? That book needs to be read by every pilot in every armed service everywhere in America and maybe the world. So you're going to argue with it's the flight manual that teaches you, and the first sentence is, you are flying over a flat, non-rotating, stationary Earth. So when Don C. comes on and says something stupid, I kind of ignore it because that just makes him look stupid. But he may say FAZIO is stupid because he believes in aliens. Well, hundreds of thousands of people have been abducted by aliens. Okay, we're going to read one more. I think I have another comment. And
Go over here now.
I can see where that
we'll
guy.
get to
See where this guy is going. Okay, so we're talking about flight level, attitude. Do you have a question about the different axis of an aircraft? If you want to talk about aircraft, today is not the day to talk about. There's an ongoing law case. There's an ongoing case. Today's not the day to talk about that. Maybe in a few months it might be, but today is not the day to talk about it. Not in public, that's for sure. And I don't know who you are, but if you put a whole bunch of super chat on my board, I'll take your email and your telephone number, and I'll call you up, talk to you about it. If you want to have a conversation, but you have to send me, I don't know, a whole lot of super chat. What do you think a whole lot of super chat is? Because you know a whole lot about asking random questions, so you should know a whole lot about super chat. So moving on, I don't expect you to give me any super chat. Try to keep on topic. Now, if I was teaching something, and I have the ability to teach a lot of different things, and you asked a question to derail my train of thought, my consciousness, I would boot you from the class. You would not be a student in my class. It wouldn't even happen twice. I would make that clear on day one. If you came late to my class, you'd have to make the class up probably, and I have that ability to let you do that. So if you want to change my train of thought or sidetrack me, you need to throw, I don't know, say $500 in super chat on the thing, and then send me your phone number. Hey, buddy, send me your phone number, and then I'll talk to you about the case. Okay, 500. That ought to derail me really well. Other than that, one more worthless comment, and you're gone. And you won't. If I block you, you never get unblocked. Now I know you don't care, and I sure don't care. I never cared, and I'm never going to care. So do it again. Let's see if he did it again. Not yet. Okay. So moving on. When you're flying, navigating, and you set a gyroscope, it flies straight and level. It doesn't matter what part of the world you're in. It doesn't matter if you're flying Chinese aircraft, or Russian aircraft, a helicopter, a blimp, even a rigid blimp. It doesn't matter what you're flying. The terminology for straight and level flight, to take off and land on a non-rotational, stationary, flat Earth, it's the same all over the world. If it wasn't that way, and if you believe the fools that tell you that the Earth is round, here would be the complications. If the Earth moved from east to west at 1,000 miles an hour, and you were coming in from a north or south vector heading, then the Earth would be moving underneath the plane at 1,000 miles an hour. You'd never be able to land that. The runway would come past you like this. You'd never be able to hit the runway from north to south. So what you'd have to do is hit the runway. If the Earth is moving from east to west at 1,000 miles an hour, and you came in from the west to the east, you'd be moving 1,500 miles an hour when you hit the tarmac. That would not work either. You would have to come from west to east and that's moving 1,000, you're moving 500, you'd hit the runway at 500 miles an hour. That wouldn't work either. So that just blows the Earth rotation, the rotation of the Earth. It turns it into a non-entity. There's no rotation. You could never land an aircraft if the Earth was rotating from east to west at 1,000 miles an hour. It wouldn't be possible. If it was rotating and you were in a helicopter and you took off and just went up, you hear this stupid theory that the atmosphere is like Velcro and it sticks to the earth. It does not. Over there, wherever over there is here, the atmosphere at 10,000 feet could be moving at 20 nautical miles an hour east to west. But over there, 30 miles away, the stratosphere might be moving from north to south at 50 miles an hour. And then up above, you could have winds up to 140 miles an hour. But that's not following the rotation of the earth. The winds are going in different directions because of thermals and things that we don't need to really talk about right now. But that's true. So if the earth was rotating, you hear about the Coriolis effect, that marksmen that shoot a target at 500 or 5,000 feet away, that they have to compensate for the rotation of the earth. That's nonsense. That doesn't happen. It doesn't exist. First of all, it couldn't be done. It might be able to be done with no wind, but then to compensate for wind, dropping of the bullet from the height that you're shooting it with, where it drops down as it goes further away from the weapon, it's not possible. There's no Coriolis effect. If there was a ship that shoots a cannonball, if the earth is flowing from east to west and a cannonball shoot it that way, it's only going to go 500 feet, let's say 1,000 feet. But if you would turn the ship around and they shoot the cannonball and it's going 1,000 miles an hour, it could go 2,500 feet. And from north to south, the cannonball is going to drift over 1,000 feet to the left or right, depending on which heading. And none of that stuff is true. That's all blah, blah, blah in movies. None of it exists in real life. They've been lying to you about the earth in rotation. The earth does not rotate. So let's go back to the comments. Okay, DNC, I'm working on my driver's license. Well, imagine that. DNC, who introduced me to, let's talk about DNC. How did I become friends with Aloe? That's DNC's fault. So every time we say Aloe, and maybe DNC, we have to ding. Aloe, aloe, aloe de winter, and DNC are my friends. Ding, 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 ding. You know, that guy that was Aloe made the name up for, the Mambozo guy. That guy should have a pot. And every time he successfully fits a Komasikiyama into a gourd, he should have a pot. Another successful gourd fitting. I put the gourd on him, I handled it like a man. I manhandled his manlyhood as best I can. I put the gourds where they belong, on whether they're short or long. LOL, Aloe de Winter is my friend, and so is DNC. Aussie Outlaw. Hey, buddy. Aussie Outlaw, he knows all about the curvature of the earth and the Coriolis effect, because Aussie Outlaw has a video on his channel. What you don't know about the Aussie Outlaws, he is the world, in the world, #1 rock skipper. He has the Guinness World Record for skipping rocks across a flat lake. Aussie Outlaw has that. It's on his channel. He shows it to you. It's amazing. 77 skips with one rock across flat water. He's an amazing man, Ozzy Outlaw. Bells would be ringing, Aloe would be singing, Mr. Mambozo is measuring you for Christmas cheer. And if he gives you an extra tingle, you can give him a little jingle. Like Kevin is always asking for jingle. That's what he means. He wants to tingle your wingle. And he wants to be like Mr. Mambozo, Kevin does. And soon Kevin will meet his benefactor? No, his ATM machine, his mobile ATM machine. Kevin will meet his mobile ATM machine soon. I'm wondering if there's going to be pitching and catching when that all happens. No one ever knows. There's a lot of people that wear different hats, and you never know where their minds are at. So when Kevin says he wants to jingle, he may really want to tingle. You're como si llama. When Ozzy Outlaw, when Michael dings that pot, 47 guards come running. Actually, when I ding the pot, to the people that are my neighbors, there he goes with the pot again, because they know the pot makes a lot. But when there are other divers that are from a different area, right now I'm guessing, I'm going to have to do an expose on this. I'm guessing 1,000 people a day are diving off of this beach because illegally someone made a road to the beach. There was a path. Now it's a road. So now people are coming from as far as 25 miles away with trucks of people in the trucks. 10, 12 divers, 6 passengers, 12 passengers. And the road isn't so much, it was a path, but then someone dug it out without, I don't know, without the authority to do so. Let's say that happened. Maybe they had the authority, but they didn't. They did it really quick. They were not hanging around. They dug that out. They did their work on the beach, and then they dug that road out and disappeared right quick after that. So the Brian guy knows who it was, and they don't care. The local politicians know who it was, and they don't care, and I don't care. But what I will tell you is that it increased the amount of boats on the beach in front of my house from 12 or 13 boats to over 100. So that's a big difference. That's tenfold. That's 10 times the amount of boats I'm looking at right now outside the house. And trucks all day and night, which will be good for the local business. They'll make up some of the money they lost during the illusion of COVID. But I don't care that they're here. That doesn't bother me at all. But what I do worry about is the reef. The reef where I live is a beautiful reef. 1,000 people a day, no matter how careful they are going to do a little bit of damage every day to the reef. The reef will be, they're building 2 huge buildings down the road. 200-room complexes, condominiums. The beach, the reef is going to die within 5 years, 6 years at best. With all the divers and the hotels that they got going up and the hotels that they have already, because the Philippines doesn't have effluent regulations. The effluents just go straight into the ocean in a pipe. They grind it up, and then they just shoot it right out into the ocean. There's no aeration of the effluents. There's no... I could go through the septic wash, how to get septic water back to natural water. There's no chlorination plant. There's no sewage treatment plant in Bahal. None. Zero. Not even one. And there's none here. And a sewage treatment plant here would have to be, if it was above ground, which most of them are not, if it was above ground, it would have to be 1,000 feet square, maybe more. And it would have to have huge septic pools, 20 feet deep, with the paddles. The pools would have to be 150 feet long, and giant paddles on chains. And they would have to be several of those. And then they would have to have macerators that would masticate the solids from the hotel. Then, in the paddles, they have to have a scraper at the bottom of the paddles that they're going to scrape back the heavy solids. That could be whatever. It could be plastic, could be paper, whatever falls down to the bottom of the paddles when they're mixing the chemicals and the oxygen and of course chlorine. And then the paddles, on the bottom there's a scraper. It's like a giant spackling tool, but it might be 20 feet across, 3 feet high. And that scraper goes on the bottom of the pool and scrapes all the solids to one end of the pool. Then those solids, they come out. Then that is taken out with another hydraulic system. I don't want to go involved with all of it, but I've seen sewage treatment plants underground that are bigger than a square block, a New York City square block. They could be 2 or 3 square blocks of New York City under New York City. Under the buildings, 2 or 3 square blocks, are some of those sewage treatment plants. The one up in the Bronx is a big one. But anyway, they have to take the solids, they take it out of the tank, then they put it into like an orange juice squeezer, and they squeeze out the water. And then when the water is squeezed out, under like 50 tons of pressure, it becomes like a pellet. They call them pellets. And the pellets could be 2 feet by 2 feet by 3 feet long. And it's a block of solids that was septic raw materials into a hardened pellet. It makes it hard, like charcoal hard enough that they're self-stacking. Then what happens is a machine picks them up and stacks them onto a barge. That's one way. And then the barge goes out to the ocean into 1,500 or 2,000 feet of water and dumps them down to the bottom of the ocean. That's one way to get rid of the solids. Now that still doesn't make the water clean for the reef. The second way is that sludge is a slurry. Instead of compressing it, they pump it into ships, into huge ships with 5 million, 8 million, 10 million gallon reservoirs in the ship with huge pumps, 8-inch high pressure pumps. It takes a 1271 diesel engine, Detroit diesel, just to turn the pump on to pump the sludge. And then that pumps it into the ship, and then the ship goes out to the middle of the ocean and dumps that. But then there is the effluent, that is the gray water. That has to be treated with chlorine and bromide and aerated for a certain amount of days. And then that kills the bacteria. And then it has to be set into a neutral tank with an air bubbler to get rid of the chlorine and the bromide chemicals, and then that that evaporates off the effluents. Then that water, believe it or not, is pretty much drinkable. You could put it back for bathroom use, to flush the toilets or to wash your hands and face. I wouldn't drink it, but you could drink it. And that water is being used in Tagbilaran City, in the ICM Mall and the BQ Mall. They have a sewage treatment plant that does that there, but it's huge, the plant. So I know a lot about sewage treatment plants because I'm a septic tank contractor, but also I've been in underground sewage treatment plants that would take you half an hour to walk from one side to the other. So let's go back to the comments. Aussie Outlaw says, I was a hugely, this is the bologna and cheese. I was a hugely popular singer in the 80s here in Australia. Then became the Stone Skipper. Thank you, sir. Yeah. Aussie Outlaw, he's a man of... He also teaches kangaroo boxing. He's a very talented man. And he also makes the best bologna and cheese sandwich on the internet. But thanks for the humor. Talking about humor, I won't talk about that. There's a guy that I know. But anyway, so Aussie Outlaw, I was surprised when you showed how close you are to the beach. Good spot for the hotel. Oh yeah, thank you. I'll show it to you right now. Hold on, I'll stand up. You thought they just sent it to Jersey? No. That's where there are some big treatment plants in Jersey, but I've never been in a treatment plant in Jersey. So, Aussie Outlaw, that's the guy in that white van, that truck there that hired the equipment to come in and bulldoze a road to the beach. And he's a pretty cool dude. He's a young guy, about 35 years old. He owns 3 hotels, manages the 3 biggest hotels in Bohol, in Panglao. So that, where those people are about 175 feet from the window here. It takes about 90 seconds to get to the beach. Yeah, that's a good spot. It's a very good spot. And with all of those people, any business that I put here is going to make money. So I'm not worried about that part of it. You know, if you build it, they will come, because I'm telling you right now, there's 1,000 people a day that go to that beach. I could set up a store here tomorrow if I wanted to. I have Daisy would be, of course, the owner of the store, and I have the money to do that. I don't want to do it because it's going to interfere with 1 or 2 of my next projects. You stayed up the road. Where did you stay? To the Bellevue, the Moore Army, the Deep Blue. Where were you? What was the name of the hotel? Yeah, I wanted to do a video today because of the flat Earth, because I don't know that I'm going to get to it tomorrow because there's Cyclone Betty. It looks calm here on the ground. Well, just tell me where you stayed and I'll tell you how far you are. So I don't know that, even though it seems, first of all, I want three sets of equations when I do the flat Earth video with the drone. Okay, fine. Thank you. I want the sun to be high noon. I want the tide to be high when the sun is high up. Doesn't have to be noon high tide. Okay, don't worry about it. Oh, see, it's not that important. You stayed in Panglao, is that what you're saying? Panglao has 2,000 hotels. Were you in Alona Beach or were you in Dolho or Poblacion? Do you remember that part? Not that I would remember the name of any hotel I ever stayed in, but it makes no difference. So I want it to be high tide. I want the sun to be high up, and I want no wind, because I sent the drone up yesterday. Yesterday, I sent it up, and the drone talks to you. If there's something in the way, and you're not on sport mode, you got to remember, you put it in sport mode, you're on your own. If you can't see the screen and you can't see what the lens sees and you can't see the drone, it will run into a tree or a boat or a rope hanging down, like I sent it through some boats the other day. It'll hit an obstacle. In sport mode, it'll hit anything that's in front of it. But non-sport mode, it goes. There is an obstacle in front of you, reduce altitude, but when you go up, it will say winds are increasing, lower, please descend down to a safe attitude. So when you go up, if the wind down here is 5 knots, well, it shows you on the screen 5 knot wind. How it does that, I don't know, but it has sensors. But if you go up 100 feet, yesterday the wind was 30 knots. It tells you wind speed. It talks to you, the machine, the phone, the apparatus. Wind speed 30 knots, please descend down to a safe speed. And if you go up even further and it's 50 miles an hour, it will say unsafe traffic or unsafe something. Drone is returning to base, period. It doesn't even give you an option. So if you overrule the drone in the safety mode, it will tell you, no, we're coming back to home. But if you put it in sport mode and you go up 1,000 feet, it'll drift off a half a mile, and then you might run out of battery. So I need to have a clear sky with no wind at 1,000 feet, and the drone will go up 9,000 feet. Somebody had one, the same model as I have. Now that's 1.75 miles. I would never send it up that far, because at that height, you're almost out of battery. It's going to want to come home anyway. By the time it gets up there, your battery it's depleted, your battery. So at 1,500 feet, I want to go up 1,500 feet, and I want to rotate it 360 degrees slow, because I can see that on the screen. And then I will show you that there's no curvature, because it's not a GoPro. It's a straight lens. GoPros give you the illusion of a curved dirt. The lens that I have on my Air 2S does not give you a curvature illusion. Now, they don't do that on purpose on GoPro. It's just the way it's made. That's just how all GoPros are made, just because that's the kind of camera it is. But not all cameras have a curved lens. My Canon G20, that is perfectly flat. If I could get that up there, I could do the same thing. But actually, the quality of the photography that I get with the Air 2S is better than the Canon G20. The Canon G20 is a 2010 camera. It's okay. It's okay. One day you find it, you come on the channel and you post it, and I'll tell you how far it is in relationship. I can't remember the name of the videos that I made 2 days ago or a week ago. I was looking for a video of me and Daisy in the hospital. I know I made it. I saw it. I can't find it because I didn't post it, and I titled it And I have 20 videos of the hospital, and I have to look through each video and find the one that has Stacey and I in the hospital room. I know I have one. I believe I have one. I could be wrong about having one. I might not have one. She may have gone to the pharmacy to get something when I made that video, and that's possible too. I was on a lot of medication. They gave me, it was not heavy duty medication. It's called something called tramadol. It's a very light, it's like ibuprofen, but they gave it to you in a liquid form. It killed the pain like that, boom. Tramadol in tablet form, I take 6 of them, nothing happens. When they come and give you the shot into the intravenous, lights out for the pain. You're awake and you don't feel groggy, but the pain is gone. That was nice. It doesn't matter. What you should do is what I should do for you. I should get your Aussie Outlaw. I should go. Do you know how to search? Do you know how to search in your video files? If in YouTube, in your videos, at the top, there's a search box. Now, let's say you stayed in a hotel and you put down, I stayed in Hotel Moral Army. All you have to do is put the word hotel in the search box, and every video you have on your channel with the word hotel in the video description or the title will pop up. If you went scuba diving, no. Well, if you don't name your videos, I'm just trying to help. It's okay. It's hard to remember all those names anyway. You'd have to be an idiot savant to it's the kind of information that you should not retain. For what reason? I make videos. I don't watch them. I don't watch my videos. Sometimes I do. Every once in a while. Okay, but I don't really watch my videos. I don't even watch a lot of videos. I do watch the Philippines genre videos, most of them. I hear when you got that idiot in Kentucky saying FAZIO never owned a barge, that was his father's barge. It's registered to Michael Thomas FAZIO. If you had half a brain, you could ask your buddy Roberto to call up one of his buddies in the Coast Guard. They'll tell him who owned the barge, Michael Thomas FAZIO. Tell them to look up Michael Thomas FAZIO, December 13th, 14th, and 15th of 1998, December 13th, 14th, and 15th, Michael Thomas FAZIO. I'm in the record books in the Coast Guard. And as the captain and as the owner of Barge Dragon, I was in Little Creek, Virginia. It should be under Little Creek, Virginia, or Battle Creek, Virginia. And the name of the boat that towed me was the Port Huron. Huron, Port Huron. Pretty sure that was the boat that towed me. So I'm listed as the captain and the owner of the vessel. And then I was stationed in Little Creek, Virginia and Battle Creek, Virginia until I appropriated repairs on the barge from the storm I was in. But anyway, the Coast Guard knows that I own the barge, and you have that idiot in Kentucky telling people that it wasn't my barge. If it wasn't my barge, I accepted responsibility. I paid insurance. I'm the one who paid for the repairs, and I'm the one who paid the Coast Guard fines for the when I did get a fine for doing something on the barge that I wasn't supposed to do. If there was, I didn't have a throwing buoy. I got a fine for that, maybe $75 fine. I didn't have a throwing buoy, and I said to the Coast Guard, I'm on the barge by myself in transit from port of origin to port of destination. If I fall off the barge, who's going to throw the buoy? And the guy goes, that doesn't matter. You have to have a buoy and a bell, a throwing buoy and a bell. So I said, well, if I fall off the barge, who's going to throw the buoy? He didn't care. He said, you need to get a buoy. And you need to get a bell. I said, I have a bell. I had a bell about this big, 4-inch belt. No, you need a 6-inch belt. Got a 6-inch belt. And I have to have a certain amount of rope on the throwing line. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of rules but that's all under my name. So when you got somebody saying he never owned a barge, look up, the Coast Guard has it on record. He's not an A&P jet mechanic. The FAA has my name on record. That's never going to change. Can't lose my license unless I work on airplanes and I fail. I do something that causes a catastrophic event. Otherwise, that license is good forever. It's just the way it is. And so when people say these stupid things, Don C, there's no such thing as UFOs. And then you got a troll named Steve25901 saying that Michael Sheevers is a famous news reporter. And he admits that he was abducted multiple times, and he's one of the more famous news reporters in the world about UFOs. And he tells Don C that, and Don C doesn't argue the point, because Don C is basically just a troll. Worthless troll. Sometimes he's funny, most times he's not. Not an intelligent troll. An intelligent troll would always do some research and have a little bit of truth in everything he says, but not Don C. FAZIO's crazy because he believes the earth is flat. Well, so does everybody I know. Just about everybody I know. And the few people that did not believe the earth was flat a few years ago, they either question whether it's flat or not, or they turn the corner and they know it's flat. So, whether you want to believe it's flat or not, and YouTube is going to put a disclaimer on my video that the flat earth theory has not been proven and blah, 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 and blah, 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 but does it matter? It doesn't matter. Remember what they said about masks. You had to wear a mask to prevent the virus. Remember that? Well, the truth is the virus is about the size of a mosquito, and the mask is about the size of a cyclone fence. The air that goes through the mask is like a cyclone fence and a mosquito flying through the fence. That's how small the virus is. Now, the mask definitely helps if someone coughs or sneezes, no doubt about that. Then it stops the particulates. But just breathing, nope, not going to stop any kind of virus or nothing. Not going to stop anything from just breathing. But it stops coughing, particulate, stuff like that. Well, the way you're going to read the compass is you're going to come back right where you started. It's just the way it works out. You can't fly, you can't if the earth is flat, it's the way the compass is on the earth, the way it works, you're going to just come back to where you started. Many people have tried to navigate around the South Pole. Many people have tried it. theoretically, the circumference of the Earth is 25,000 miles. When you get to the North Pole or the South Pole, it's smaller up at the top, right? If the Earth is round, it's smaller up at the top. So Captain Cook and Magellan, they tried to circumnavigate around the South Pole. And it took them in the sailing vessel 3 to 4 years. And they sailed 68,000 miles to get back to where they started, just to go around the South Pole. You could look that up. It's real. It's, you know, so because of the way the compass headings are, they did circumnavigate the South Pole, but they took 3.5 years to go around it. But it was just around a mass of land. There's no north and south up there. If the compass points to north and you're at the other end of the Earth, the compass needle should point straight down into the Earth. You cannot circumnavigate the Earth from the north to the south or the east to the west. It will give you the illusion of traveling from around and circumventing the Earth, but it's not real. It's just not. It's just the way you're going to follow your waypoints on your compass, and it's going to bring you right back to where you started. But there's no around the Earth at the equator, and there's no around the Earth at the north or south. It just doesn't work like that. You know what? You gotta. There's hundreds of videos. Look up 200 proofs the Earth is not a spinning ball. Write it down, because you're really not familiar with the name of that video. 200 proofs the Earth is not a spinning ball. 200 proofs the Earth is not a spinning ball. Look it up. I'm not even going to bother to put the link up there. I'm just going to tell you. If you want to know, and you have a decent education, when you watch the video, do the experiments. Read about the experiments that were done. Read, do you know navigation? If you don't know navigation, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. If you're not smart and you can't remember stuff, it's going to be really difficult. But if you're smart and you watch the video, 200 Proofs the Earth is Not a Spinning Ball, when you're done doing, and there's also an ebook, a free ebook, free, no charge. When you're done with the book and done doing the experiments, you'll come to the conclusion that the Earth is flat. There can be no other conclusion. There is no other conclusion. It's flat. It's flat, stationary, non-rotating. And there's so many reasons. You know, another reason, and I'm not going to get involved with specifics, but if the Earth was rotating, and if the universe was rotating, and the Earth was rotating around the sun, and the sun is rotating in a rotational attitude, and the universe is expanding, and the sun and our universe is moving through space at 700,000 miles an hour from the Big Bang. Every time you looked at the Milky Way at midnight, it would be in a different place, but it's not, because nothing is moving. The Earth does not move. The Milky Way, the stars in the Milky Way, they don't move. The stars in the Little Dipper don't move. If the Earth was spinning around around the sun, and the moon was spinning around, and the sun was spinning around and then rotating and then moving through space, one day the Milky Way would be over here, and the next day it would be over here, and the next day you'd have to look for it someplace else. You can believe what you want. You read the book, or watch the video and stop the video, pause the video, do your own research on 200 proofs the earth is not a spinning ball, and then you let me know if the earth is flat. And if you still come to the conclusion that the earth is round, then we'll call you Don C. number 2, Don C. the second, because that man is dumber than a box of rocks when it comes to flat earth and round earth. He just doesn't know the truth. No offense, Don C., but you're not the sharpest. You're about as sharp as a marble. Let's put it like that, Don C. Okay, then you're closed-minded to the truth. What comment proved that the earth is not flat? The one about going from east to west? It's explained in the 200 proofs the earth is not a spinning ball. It's explained in great detail. But if you don't want to believe it, then just don't believe it. It's up to you, your choice. The comment above it. I don't know what comment that is. I have no idea what comment it is. I'm not going to try to figure it out. You have 15 comments in a row, the one before it. Okay, I'll acquiesce. You read the book. The earth is not 200 proofs. The earth is not a spinning ball, and when you're done, you'll change your mind. Okay, it's proven in those formulas and calculations. It's explained in great detail. You think I'm going to explain several hundred pages of theory to you in what, 15 minutes? I'm not going to do it. It's up for you to do the research. You do the research, you'll come back and say that the earth is not round. It's not spinning, and it's stationary. But if you don't do the research, you can argue the point all day. But it's ignorance of the truth that makes you argue the point. You don't know. How can you say the earth is round if the ocean is flat and level for 3,000 miles? It can't be two things. It can't be both things. It can't be round and flat. That's an easy one to prove, that the earth is flat with gyroscopes. But if you want to argue the point that east and west thing, it's explained in 200 proofs. I'm not going to get involved with this with you on every minutia detail. You read it. If you're smart enough to read it and you're smart enough to understand it, when you're done, you're going to either come to the conclusion that it's flat and stationary, or you're not going to understand it and believe it's round, no matter what I say. But it's explained in that book, as is everything else. But I don't need all that proof. You think that I have a friend of mine that retired from flying fighter jets, and he says the earth is flat, and he flew $1 million airplanes with, he had the nuclear clearance to have a nuclear weapon on his for whatever they have, whatever jet he was flying. You think that he doesn't know whether they're... Do you think that my friend that flies big commercial airplanes, anything big, doesn't know and he says the earth is flat? You think that John Blaze, that he knows the earth is flat? You think people that fly all these $100 million airplanes are lying to you and me? They're not lying. They're not going to get involved with a conversation. If you are halfway intelligent, you read the book. It's free. What does it cost you to read it? You watch the video, 200 Proofs the Earth is Not a Spinning Ball, and no intelligent person can come to any other conclusion when they're done with it than it's flat and stationary. And if you come to a different conclusion, you didn't understand it for whatever reason. I don't want to hurt your feelings. Okay, let's go down here a little bit. Freebird. Good morning, Michael. Good morning, Freebird. Well, it may have a start and finish point, but why are we not allowed to fly over Antarctica? What's there that they won't let us see? No nation can fly over the ice wall. Why? What's there that they don't want us to see? It may not have. There may be more land. That's possible. Admiral Byrd, the man who did the most research in Antarctica and the North Pole, he is clear as day that there's a continent at the North Pole. Once you get over the ice wall and fly in several hundred miles, there's an entire continent bigger than North America that they don't want us to see, with full of volcanic activity, lakes, streams, rivers, forests. Well, why are they hiding that? I don't know. And he only got in as far as the fuel in his aircraft would allow him to go, and then he had to turn around. It could go on for many more miles. You have to read the book and then understand what they're hiding to understand it. But if you don't, well, then you could come on here and say the earth is round. I'll let you do that. Because you're the rock-skipping champion of the world in the Guinness Book of Records. But if you read the book, if you watch the video, if you do the experiments in your mind or on paper, you'll come to the conclusion that the earth is flat. If you don't, then you don't have to. It's okay. I'm not going to argue with you. Arguing with you is not going to change anything. Just the fact that if you can't see the truth, that's your problem, not my problem. And it is a problem, because this is the mindset that Don C. comes from, a mindset of ignorance. What's at the end of the wall? I don't know. No one knows. They won't let you go there. What do I have? Do I have a 707 refueler that I can fly over the ice wall to find out what's at the end? No one knows. No one that says the earth is flat has ever been over the ice wall. They shoot you down. Do you not understand the simple thing? I'm going to ask you one question. If you had a plane, let's say you had a jet, and you were to fly to the ice wall, they would shoot you down. You do understand that, right? A military escort would come up on you, tell you to turn around. And if you didn't turn around, they would shoot your aircraft down for your safety. They would kill you and everybody on the plane for your safety. Meanwhile, if you flew over the ice wall and you were going to die, what's the difference? Your safety is paramount to the U.S. military, so they'll kill you before you can hurt yourself. It doesn't make any sense. But you do understand that if you had a jet airplane and you were a billionaire, they'd still shoot you down. They don't want you there. I don't know what's there. What are you asking me what's there? No one knows what's there. They just know what Admiral Byrd said and several other expeditions all said the same thing. There's hundreds of thousands of square miles on the other side of the ice wall. But they didn't get to the end. They only got in so far. They run out of fuel halfway. They have to turn around. Do you know anything about flying at all, Aussie Outlaw? I mean, seriously, I'm being serious. You know that when you have 1,000 gallons of fuel, when you head in a direction, you have to take into account wind, drift, and how far you're going. And when you get to, let's say, where you used up 400 gallons, you want to turn around and come back because you'll have a 150 or 200 gallon safety. You do know that, right? So no one has ever gone to to any further extent than Admiral Byrd, and that was back in the 1930s and 40s. And no one's ever been there since. No one ever went over the ice wall since then. They say that. No one ever went there. Why? Tell me why no one ever went there. Because they signed a treaty? There's no reason for that. So if you don't know about that, then I don't know what's over the ice wall. How would I know? Nobody knows. No pilot that I know knows either. The pilots know the Earth is flat, but they have no idea what's over the ice wall. And even if you had a refueler with 50,000 gallons of jet fuel, and you could fly, theoretically, 10,000 miles, as soon as you get to the ice wall, they shoot you down. They don't let you go over the ice wall. You, Bill Gates, nobody goes over the ice wall. The Air Force shoots you down and kills you for your own safety. That's true. That's the way it always has been. Even if you had a vessel, you were a captain of you had a yacht. Once you get into the Antarctic waters, you can only go in certain places and they turn you around. And you can only go at certain times of the year. And if you don't have an icebreaker, what's hilarious? Tell me what is hilarious. Okay, so you've just closed your mind to the truth. Okay, then our conversation about the flat Earth is over. Because if you're not intelligent enough to watch the video and read the book and do your own experiments, I find that hilarious. So now we're even. Okay, you're not going to troll me. And you're not going to keep me talking about that subject. I gave you the information. That's all you need to figure out whether the Earth is flat or round. You're not going to sit here and do this to me for another hour. I told you. Are you deaf? Because now we're getting involved with nonsense. I told you the United States military, China, Russia, the armed forces shoot you down. Whoever is guarding the ice wall, wherever that is on the ice wall, shoots you down. Are you going to ask me another question like that? I'm going to end the conversation with you. I just won't ask you answer another question. I told you before that they shoot you down. Whoever's guarding the ice wall. Do you not understand? Are you not familiar with a treaty signed by 57 nations of the world that no one will go over the ice wall? Are you not familiar with that? Do you not understand anything about the history of Antarctica? Do you not understand it? What, am I educating you from day one? There's a treaty signed between 57 nations that no one shall go over the ice wall, and if you do, they get shot down. They won't let you. Do you not understand that? Am I saying this to you for the first time? Because if I am, then I'm talking to dead air space. If you don't know that that exists right now in your life, you've not done enough research to understand who it is. The United Nations of the world, the UN, 57 nations signed a treaty. No one can fly over the ice wall. And if you go anywhere near it, they shoot you down. You don't know this? I took it for granted that you know this. But apparently not. Okay. You need to read the book, 200 Proofs the Earth is Not a Spinning Ball, and come back to me with your summarization. But for me to go over every single detail about stuff that you should know, history of the world, the whole world has made an agreement. Argentina, Uruguay, Germany, England, America, Russia, China, Japan, Australia, England, Britain, all the nations of the world, 57 people signed the Antarctic Treaty that no one shall ever fly over the ice wall. And this is the first you're hearing about it? That's sad. That's sad. Because I don't know how old you are, but I knew that 25 years ago. I didn't know why. No one knows what's over the wall. No one ever will. The government keeps it a secret. That's it. Okay, we're done. You and I are done talking about this topic. Want to talk about something else? Now you're trolling me. And that won't go over well. That doesn't go over well with me. Now you're trolling me. Did I say countries? I said nations. 57 nations and or countries have signed the treaty. I don't care how many. We're done. One more comment like that, and we're done. That's it. It's over. Conversation's over. If you don't know about it, I'm not going to sit here and educate you to every minutia detail about the treaty, about the... we're done. Anybody else have anything to say? Because I'm going to end the live stream. I'm not going to sit here and argue. No, I already explained to you. See, you're doing it again. Now you're trolling me. Done. We're done with you. Okay? I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. If you're not intelligent enough, or you're too stupid to understand, there's another way of putting it. I explained to you everything you need to know to learn that the earth is flat. Everything. I explained to you about the treaty, the United Nations treaty. And you're still arguing the point. That's trolling. I'm going to look something up for you, okay? I'm going to look up something for you, and I'm going to give you your answer, okay? But because you're too stupid to understand English, I'm going to look it up for you. Because you're too stupid to understand English. And that's what it boils down to. You're trolling me, so I'll have to educate you because you're too stupid to do what I just said to do. So, that's a troll. And because I know you for a long time, I allowed it to happen. And now I'll show you nations, N-A-T-I-O-N, that's signed. You're too stupid to do this. Treaty of Arctic, A-R-C, of flying over Okay, here it is, moron, because you're too stupid to look it up. You want to troll me? Then that's how I'm going to talk to you. The Antarctic Treaty was signed in Washington on December 1st, 1959 by 12 nations that had been active during the IGY. And then it gives you the 12 nations. But now, see the word here? Nations. See that word where you were arguing country or nations? I said nations. Now there are 57 people that have signed, 57 nations that have signed it. The Antarctic Treaty. Okay, now let's go here. Accept all cookies. And here it is, right here. This is everything you need to know. The Antarctic Treaty System. What's allowed, what's not allowed, who's allowed, and the maximum latitude that you're allowed to go. 1991, the 30th anniversary. How many people are in it? I'm looking for the number. I think it's 57 nations. You read this, and then you'll understand what the Antarctic Treaty is. And this is signed by every nation in the world. Every superpower, every powerful nation in the world has signed on to this treaty. Trying to figure how many people the British Antarctic. So I'll give this to you because you were not smart enough and you refused to listen that I said it was easy enough to find out. You just got blocked, Aussie Outlaw, and you will never come back on my channel again. I told you about trolling me. Don't do it. You just got blocked permanently forever. Don't ever come back on my channel under Aussie anything, Outlaw anything, ever. You're getting blocked right now. I told you don't troll me. You trolled me. You had your fun. Here we go. Hide user on this channel. Thanks for all the times you stopped by. You will never come back on my channel. Ever, under any name. Let's see. You have trolled me. You're going to pay the price. I don't care about you. I never cared about you. And I'm never going to care about you. You're gone. Yep. Okay, so I told you don't troll me. And you keep asking the same question over and over. And I gave you the answer. I gave you the answer. Read the book. Do the experiments in the video. Look up the treaty that the whole world agrees to. And then figure it out for yourself. You're never coming back on my channel with the word Aussie anything in it. You were trolling. I know you were trolling. You know you were trolling me. And that's the nature of a good troll. To not let people believe. It's magic. Yeah, that's the nature of a troll. But why would you do that to me? I've been very nice to you, allowing you on my channel, having fun with your stupid antics that you're the world rock. You know, I said before, Aussie Outlaw is the champion rock skipper of the world in the Guinness Book of Records. Because he threw a round rock on a lake. It skipped 3 times. And he calls himself the world champion. He threw a round rock on a lake in Australia. He has no rock skipping championship in the Guinness Book of Records. He's just trolling. And I went along with this nonsense, but I won't go along with it to where he keeps asking the same question differently over and over. I gave him the answer he asked for, and he refuses to accept it, and then wants to just twist it up. And the guy who said that, what a nutcase, you're gone too. Watch this. You're another one. I would bet big money you have nobody on your channel. This guy, Pathetic Punksthetic Legion. Let's go to your channel. I bet big money you have nothing on your channel. Nothing. You have a cartoon, videos. You have stupid stuff, Looney Tunes and cartoons on your channel. You're another idiot. Revenge of the Legion. You guys want to troll, that's okay, but now you're going to get blocked. There you go. You got it. Here's the block button right there. Block user, submit, and you're gone. You think I'm a nutcase because I'm sitting here arguing the point with somebody that's too stupid to understand English. I gave him his answer. I gave it to him. Told him how to research whether the earth is flat or round. And then I even said, you do those, the physical experiments in your head or read about the scientists that did the physical experiments, the ones that know for a fact that the earth is flat, and then you go do those experiments and watch the videos on it, and you come back and give me your point of view. But he wants to argue every little minutiae detail. I'm not going to do that. I'm not here. You don't pay me enough to do that. In fact, you don't pay me anything, and I'm sitting here still talking to you, but you're not going to then troll me on top of that. He's a Luke. You know what, Don C? I've had enough of your nonsense as well. Let's just get you off my channel altogether, permanently. I don't need to see who you are. I don't need to listen to your crap. You're an idiot. You're an idiot for a man your age to go on, to leave 200 or 300, 400 comments a week on other people's channel. You're an idiot. None of it makes sense, that what you do. You're gone. I've held off with blocking you because sometimes your comments are funny, but you're a fool. You're a lonely old man that has nothing to do but leave stupid comments on people's videos. Okay, I'm a kook and you're gone. Okay, we'll put this guy here too, Don C. He's a Luke. And you're gone too. I'll block everybody. I don't care. I never cared. I'm never going to care. So now you got what you want. Hide user on this channel. And now you're gone too. Now I won't be able to read your comments. Your worthless comments. How many thousands of comments have you left? You just use up people's valuable time to read your worthless rhetoric. Why would a successful man in life need to leave 400 comments, 500 comments, 600 comments a month? For what reason? What does that... I haven't left a comment at all on any video, ever. LaRue Seagrass, I said hello to her today. I said hello to Aloe on one of his uploads. No troll comments, just comments. They're nice, funny. Maybe I've left this month, maybe total, the month of May, 15 comments, 20 comments. That's it. And they were all with my name, under my channel name, and they were all something intelligent. Nothing that anybody would take off. Nothing at all. Not a single troll comment to anybody's channel. Because I don't see the point in wasting my time to leave a worthless troll comment. But you're supposed to be an intelligent man, and you spend 2 or 3 or 4 hours a day sometimes on these videos. Hundreds of comments you leave. To what avail? What effect does that have? Some of them are funny, most of them are stupid, but it just shows you that you're even more lonely than most other people on YouTube. That's what you are. That's what Scott Del Fuego depicts you as. Louis Pagan Ponce depicts you as. Several other people. They just picture you as a guy who has nothing going for him at all. Other than you have money. That's it. You say you go swimming. You say you play tennis. But you don't show anything that you do. You have no videos that I know of, although I've never gone to your channel in a year. But you think that your ignorant comments are worthwhile for... You like Kevin. You believe that Big Kevin is a great YouTuber. Kevin has an IQ of somewhere in between 40 and 50. And you believe he's a great YouTuber. That's your level of intelligence, not mine. All right, so now we have all the people that were watching in the background. They all came on as trolls. So that's good that you came on as trolls. I got you. Nobody that I ever blocked from 2 weeks ago, I said it, will ever come back on my channel. Ever. Not that you guys care. I don't care. You don't care. So just troll away. Aussie Outlaw, clear as day, he was trolling. Okay? I told him to stop. Read the information I gave him. Then when he asked me about the treaty, I showed him the treaty. Then he goes back to another question. That's trolling. Okay? And because I knew him, I let him get away with it for up to a certain point. You guys want to troll? Good. Okay, so let's see. We have a guy here, Big Daddy. My nation did not sign it. We believe the earth is square. Okay, let's go to Big Daddy's channel. Let's see. Another person who I would say, I'm not sure, has no content on his channel. And if that's the case, he's getting blocked too. Big Daddy has 3 videos. He's another no content provider. Nigerian Prince of Love. Hey, nice to meet you. We'll go to his about page right here. We'll go down. All the African nations signed the treaty, by the way, but being that you're trolling me, we're going here to the block and block. Done. Okay, let's go back to the African nations signed the treaty. Okay, so you know you have no content. There you go. Freebird, poof, it's magic. What a nutcase. How did that guy get back? How did he get back? I don't know. He's hidden. I can still see him. See, that guy's got he's got another account with the same name. Go to the channel. All right, we got to go this way. Okay, we'll go to the about page. Now this is fun. Block. It says unblock user. If he's blocked, how can I see him? YouTube. All right, let's go down to the bottom. Yes, sad man I am. Okay, I have 11,000 videos on YouTube. Nobody else has that many videos on YouTube. Nobody else in the Philippine genre. And you want to call me a sad man? That's okay, because you just got blocked. Okay, another one. Here we go. Hide user on this channel. See? There you go. He's gone. Any more? You can't see him. Okay. Yeah. When you people have content on your channel, real content, like pictures of something you built, a mobile home trip you did across the country, you have a motorcycle that you took the engine apart, a garage door that you fixed, and you have content on your channel, you have a lot more leeway with me. But when you have no content on your channel, that means you have nothing to offer. Like I said, I have 11,000 videos. Flying airplanes, diving, walking on hundreds of different beaches, my 2 different boats, including an ocean racer and a center console, barge, crane videos that I own cranes, tugboats, drill rigs, trenching machines, backhoes, bobcats, all that stuff I have. You have nothing and you're going to come and troll me on my channel? It ain't going to happen. It just doesn't work like that. If you want to be a significant member of YouTube, put up some content, show us who you are, your name, your address, what you do, where you live maybe, it's up to you. Show us who you are and what you have to offer the community. When I go to your page, I'll say, okay, you have content. I'll let that one slide. But come to my channel and say I'm a nutcase. I'm not putting up with your crap. I had 20, 30 people working for me at different times in my life. You think I'm going to put up with that crap from 20 different people? I'll be sitting there arguing with people all day. Do what I asked you to do. I want to do it my way. Thank you very much. Get it done or go home. It's not complicated. I don't have time to argue with 20 people on my job site. You think I'm going to do it on YouTube? You're even less likely to happen. Now, let's go here. Okay, more blockage coming up. Let's go to Pigeon's channel. You can't even write English, Pigeon. You wrote, what a sad, wad man. He got rattled because 3 people with content, none of you had any content. Cartoons is not content. I don't care who you are. Cartoons is not content. Looney Tune cartoons is not content. That doesn't count. I explained to you what content is. Content is your motorcycle, your backhoe, your house, your boat, your car, ripping an engine apart. That's content. So let's go to Pigeon Racer right here. Let's go to his channel. No content, you're getting blocked. Oh, he's got 2 videos. A church video for 18 seconds, that don't count. Thug's Mansion, that don't count either. A church video for 18 seconds and you consider that content, and you have been a member for 3 years, you're going to get blocked. Go ahead. Come on, guys. Block her up. Block user. Submit. Okay, next. When I get back, you got Mix Mike. He's got 100 channels that say Mick, Micko, Mick Mike, Mike Mick, Mick 1, Mick 2, Mick 3, Mike Mick, Mick Mike, Mike. He's got 100 troll channels. I blocked 25. Are you here? Come on, let's block another one. You people are not coming to my channel and trolling me. And it won't last long. A weird man that doesn't want to be trolled. A weird man, huh? Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else? I'm waiting. Come on. Tell me that the earth is square. Ask me the same stupid question that Aussie Outlaw that I told him. Stop asking stupid questions or you're going to get blocked. And he did it anyway. Did he prove a point? Yeah, he proved the point. He proved the point that he's too stupid to read the link I gave him. He's too stupid to review the treaty between the nations that refused to allow you to fly over the ice wall. And he went back to North and South and Donbas. I told you, all that stuff is explained in the book, 200 Proofs the Earth is Not a Spinning Ball, but he couldn't get that through his head. He kept going back to that because he was trolling. And because I knew him and allowed it to happen, he was continuing the troll. Even though I asked him to stop, told him to stop, said, if you continue, I'm going to block you. And he did. He got blocked. It's not complicated. I told you what was going to happen. Now, does Aussie Outlaw have any content on his channel? He's got a video where he calls himself the world rock skipping champion of the world. And he skipped a rock on the water 3 times. It's trolling content, nothing real. Okay, so there are other messages? No? Apparently there's messages that I can't see. Okay, that's okay that I can't see them. No, if it's being held for review, I wouldn't even know how to see those. I don't know. Apparently there's messages that are being held for review. And I'm not real sure how to see that stuff. I have a filter that you can't curse on the channel. If you say certain words like the C word, it's filtered out. Any kind of derogatory towards gays or blacks, you get filtered out. You deleted them. Okay, thanks, DNC. The DNC knows me for a long time. DNC will tell you, I think, you could tell them the truth, DNC, because we've been friends and we go back into a whole different level of friendship. Was I being trolled by Aussie Outlaw? Were you here for that little event? You could give your honest opinion. It's okay, because my opinion might differ from yours, but I don't think it will. Does DNC believe I was being trolled? Don C was definitely trolling me. That we agree on. He wasn't here. Okay. It's okay. It makes no difference. The guy kept asking the same question, varying it a little bit here and there. I gave him a link of all the nations that blocked. There's a treaty that all the nations, 57 various nations to date, I believe there's 57. The United Nations have blocked anybody from flying over the ice wall. And then he kept asking me, but if the earth is flat, where is the edge? Well, no one's gotten to the ice wall to find the edge. The only person that ever flew over the ice wall was Richard Admiral Byrd. And he only flew in several hundred miles. He said it went on for as far as his could see. It was hundreds of thousands of square miles that he didn't get to. Then he wants to know, he's asking me, what's on the other side of the ice wall? Well, why would I know that? I'm not a military Air Force pilot that has permission to fly over the ice wall. And then, well, what's over there? And I don't know. I couldn't answer the question because no one knows. But if you keep repeating the same question and the answer is just a different variable, that's trolling. Don C, we know trolls. That's his job. But I got fed up with that bullshit a couple of days ago, reading some of the stupid stuff where Kevin said that FAZIO never owned a barge. It was FAZIO's father's barge. And several people, yeah, FAZIO never owned a barge. That was his fault. My father didn't own the barge. My father had nothing to do with the ownership of the barge. But all you people want to say it. And I can't block you on Kevin's channel. But when you come to my channel and I see you saying something stupid about me on Kevin's channel, I can block you. Don C, I don't care what you say. Some of your comments are funny. Most of them are just stupid. Why you do it, I don't know. Why would a grown man spend 3 or 4 hours a day leaving comments? And then you go, as soon as a video is posted, you go straight to the video. You have to be within the top 5 people to leave a comment. Then you go back and you respond to the comments on your comments. You have no life, Don. Now I'm sitting here in my chair because I had a major operation and I'm not supposed to do anything heavy. I'm not supposed to walk, not supposed to swim. So I got plenty of time for this. And you know that, but you said probably, I don't read every one of your comments, but Kevin said, he had a little operation. It's not a little operation, fat man. It's a big operation. The scar is 7.5 inches plus, maybe, and 2 hours and 15 minutes with 2 doctors, 2 nurses, working solid the whole time. I was awake, never stopped. And then another dozen people in the operating room bringing them equipment and using the vacuum to take the blood out of the wound and handing them different types of stitching material. And I could hear all of that stuff, but most of them knew their job and the doctor didn't have to say much. And then Kevin says, it was just a little hernia. Was he there? I showed the scar, but he's a moron. And Don C backs up everything Kevin says because he's a moron. Or he believes what a moron says, which kind of, by proxy, makes him a moron. If you believe a moron, then you must be a moron. Because if you can't tell the difference between intellect and a moron, and you follow a moron's train of thought, that doesn't say much about you. But you do it to troll. He does it because he's a moron. So Don C is not really a moron. He just trolls in order to be, somehow he feels that he has to be Kevin's compatriot with stupidity in YouTube. And that's okay. I don't go I don't preemptively block people on Kevin's channel that say stuff about me, but when they come here and they do it here, you're getting blocked. It's my prerogative. It's my channel, and I run. Kevin says, "Oh, I have more people on my show. I had 70 people." Fazio bought his subscribers. You know what, fat man? If there was a way to wager your worthless life, and that's what I think about you and what you do and what you've given this world for the last 15 years. If there was a way to wager your worthless life against me just buying one subscriber, which never happened, you would lose your life over that wager. I've never bought a subscriber, ever. Not once, ever. But Kevin's worthless existence feels that he has to say, I bought my subscribers on both this channel and Hoodwinked. So Kevin, if there was a way, the universe, God, could say, Kevin, you wager your worthless existence in this material world against Fazio's word that he never bought a subscriber, and you wager your life against my channel. If I bought one subscriber, I lose the channel. If I never bought a subscriber, you lose your life. And that would be the wager. You'd lose, and then the world might be a better place, because you are one worthless human being, in my opinion. There are a lot of worthless people in this world, but Kevin, he tops the cake. No pun intended. Okay. Yeah, no, that's fine that he has those views. I know that he has views, but he's not going to come on my channel and troll me. That's what he was doing. To repeat the same question over and over and over, just throw a different slant on it. When I asked him to stop, and he refused to stop. So maybe he's drunk. Did you ever think of that? Did you ever think that maybe he's high? Maybe he's drunk? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he over-medicated and he just can't get it through his head that when I asked him nice to stop, I don't know. I don't go through all those scenarios. I asked him to stop nicely several times. Go back and watch the video. And he refused to stop. And I said, if you don't stop, I'm going to block you. Then he asked me another question about the treaty. I gave him the answer. He went back to what I asked him not to talk about, to research it. So I don't care how many views he has. There's people that make one stupid video that children like, or that just got 1 million views on it. I have videos on my other channel. Stupid videos with 500,000 views. 500,000, 400,000, 300,000 views. Some of the dumbest videos, I don't care how many views he's got. I asked him nice to stop asking those questions, and he refused. Got blocked. I don't need him on my channel. I'm not going to do that. You people need to understand, I'm not here for your benefit to make a joke, a mockery at him, what I say. What I say is true. The earth is flat. Whether or not you want to believe it is up to you. I gave him every option to read and research whether the earth was flat. He don't want to do it. He just wants to argue the point with me. I'm not here to educate him. He didn't even know about the treaty. So if he didn't know about the treaty, then he's basically ignorant of world politics. And that means there's no reason to talk to him about world politics anymore. So then he went right back to what I asked him not to talk about. He got blocked. You think it's funny, maybe. He thinks it's that I'm crazy or weird. He can think whatever he wants. I asked him nice to stop, and he refused to do so. It's my channel. I'm not going to have it. It's just that simple. Okay, so I'm streaming to nobody. 11 people, 11 trolls. That's true. Keep it simple. Oh, I didn't care about his content. I didn't say he had no content. I asked him to stop trolling me. I didn't say he had no content. The other people had no content. You're right about that. I never said he didn't have content. I asked him to stop trolling me. He wouldn't. He refused. Okay. So now I have to talk about him and just stay with him and teach him about a world-renowned treaty that everybody knows about. The treaty since high school. We learned that in high school about the Antarctic Treaty. It was signed in 1959 by all the nations of the superpowers of the world. So I don't care how many. He had videos, yes, but he also was trolling me. Maybe, like I said, he was drunk. Maybe he's high. I don't care. Stop. Please stop talking about that. And he continued. So if you want to make it my fault, make it my fault. I didn't say he had no videos. I said the other two men had no videos. I don't care. Aussie Outlaw, I've talked to him for a year. And he trolled me. And I don't allow people to troll me. It's not complicated. It's not complicated. What is it about you that people don't understand? Don't troll me, and you won't get blocked. You have a legitimate question, I answered his legitimate question, then he asks me another variation of the same question. What's on the other side of the ice wall? Nobody knows. Well, what's at the end of the ice wall? Same question. How come nobody knows? It's all irrelevant. Stop asking that line of questioning. Read about the treaty, why they're not allowed on the other side of the ice wall. Scientific reasons, medical reasons, military reasons. There's all kinds of reasons. And the government, right, the governments rule the world. That's right, Freebird. So, but why would I know what's on the other side of the ice wall? I never said I knew that. I just know the earth is flat. And he can't get that. I gave him the article that said the treaty, who signed it, when, what day it was signed. He went back to going east to west in a compass. I gave him a way to see how circumnavigation is not possible east to west or north to south. I gave him the full explanation in a book called 200 Proofs the Earth is Not a Spinning Ball. It's all explained in that book. It could take you a month to go through the calculations, but then when you're done, you'll know the Earth is flat. Or you could go through the first 50 pages, not find fault in any experiment, and just say the Earth is flat. He did. He made one comment about the ice wall. He said, what's on the other side of the ice wall? I don't know. What's at the end of the ice wall? And then he said, what's on the other side of the ice wall? As if I'm supposed to know. What, is there a difference? End and the other side? There is a difference. By verbiage, there's a difference. But have I ever alluded to the fact that I have been to Antarctica in a plane, in a military aircraft as a pilot? I've never said that. I have no idea what's on the other side of the ice wall. I have no idea why they block us from going over the... Well, I know... Yeah, this is what he did say. I said they will shoot you down if you go over the ice wall. And then he wanted to know who will shoot you down. But before that, I said the governments of the world. Whoever is guarding that portion of the ice wall will shoot your aircraft down. Whoever it is. Am I somehow... Do I have some kind of secret CIA NSA map in front of me? Do I have a million computers with thermal imaging and data flashing? I don't know who they are. They will shoot you down. And he asked that question, who will shoot? I don't know who they are. They're pilots that are in planes with guns that will shoot you down. But just stop asking me questions about that and read the book. Watch the videos I gave you. There's your answer. No. He has to get me to give him an answer, which I can't give him. I could argue this point forever. I won't back down, not even for a second. The proof of that the earth is flat is that water seeks its own level. Gyroscopes don't follow the curvature of the earth. Those two things prove the earth is flat. All the other stuff is incidentals, icing on the cake. That nobody has ever flown a plane and constantly descended around an arc of a curved earth. Never happened. No pilot, no fighter pilot, nobody ever happened. Never happened. Never happened because it can't happen. Let's go back to the... Yeah, he did mention what the ice wall, the end of the ice wall, over the ice wall, and what is on the other side of the ice wall to me, he said. I don't know. Now, the Bible, I'll give you that it's mostly bullshit. Mostly bullshit. But the Bible does say that the earth is flat. And flat and stationary. But go to Warner von Braun, the head of modern rocketry, and read what he wrote on his tombstone. I'll show it to you, because that would be something you wouldn't know. Warner von Braun, the head of modern rocketry. Let's look that up. Warner von Braun tombstone, right here. See, it says tombstone right here. I think it's Psalms 19, if I remember correctly. Okay. Let's go here. Let's try this first one here. Psalms 19:1. I was right. So now let's look up Psalms 19:1. Why did the head, the smartest man on earth, Psalms 19:1. Come on. Where's that P? Right here? No, that's O. P, okay. It's getting dark here. P-S-A-L. Psalm 19:1. Let's check that out. The heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the works of his hands. So he believed in God. So he's one of the most famous people when it comes to flight and the rocket man. But he also believed that the earth was flat and stationary. And the Bible says the earth is flat, but most of the Bible is bullshit. You couldn't possibly follow the Bible. If the Bible was real, if it had any real meaning to it, and I'm the one that, I'm on your side. The Bible is basically a bullshit story, but there is truth to it. It's a path that you could take through life. But It's the path that the government uses to control your life. Thou shalt not kill. But Obama killed 1 million people in wars. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. Kennedy was, not Kennedy, many of the politicians have affairs with other people's wives. Thou shalt not steal. Politicians steal from us all the time. But you're not allowed to do it. So the bullshit Bible, the Bible bullshit, Bible bullshit, gives you rules that the Vatican doesn't abide by. Thou shalt not touch the skirt of another man, or thou shalt be stoned to death. That's in the Bible. And half the clergy in the Vatican and in the Catholic religion, not half, but a percentage of them are gay men and gay women. So they profess this since 1325, when the King James Version was written. They profess thou shalt not touch another man's skirt or be stoned to death. But inside the Catholic Church, in the Vatican, a priest gets caught molesting a child. They don't disbar the priest. They send the priest to Guatemala or to Bolivia or Panama or some jungle, and they do it in a jungle. They don't, very rarely do they ever excommunicate a priest. So the rules are, thou shalt not touch another man's skirt, yet Pope Francis was gay, and that's proven time and time again, and now lives with his butler, his lover butler, who was his lover for years. So the rules in the Bible are only for you. They're not for the church, the clergy, the Vatican, or the politicians, because they're only for you. That's why the Bible is bullshit. The rules are good rules, but they're only followed. Then they're only followed by the people that are subjugated to the rules. Politicians, look at the way they lie when they're in testimony and at the congressional hearings. Fauci lied. They have that guy Menorca, whatever, the guy in charge of the border. The most border crossings in the history of all of humanity. And he says he's doing a good job. He's lying. And they won't do a thing about it. Step down. Quit your job. You should be fired. And he goes, I beg to differ with you. I'm doing the best job. I have reduced the amount of border crossings by 25%. They're just screwing you and taking your money. But you can't. If you lie in court, you could go to jail for 7 years. If they lie, nothing happens to them. The FBI knows that Hunter Biden has committed all kinds of crimes. They don't do anything to him. The whole world is corrupt, so the Bible is bullshit. It's only for the people in charge to lay the rules down on you. You're subjugated to the rules of the Bible, but they don't have to follow those same rules. So I agree. The Bible is bullshit, but there are good parts. Thou shalt not steal. That's a good one. Thou shalt not touch another man's skirt. I like that one too. But when they do it, it's okay, because the world is corrupt. But we won't get involved with that. My other channel is for stuff like that. So let's go here. Let's go down here. The heavens declare the glory of God. The firmament shows his handiwork. Read the full chapter. So let's just go read the full chapter of that. Okay. I'm reading. he that's what he put down. He believed, so he was a very powerful man. He believed, some people believe in the Bible, but yet Werner von Braun's creations killed millions of people. But he believed in the Bible. It's a little bit of hypocrisy there. A lot of hypocrisy. Okay, let's go back to the... Here it is again, right here. Psalms 19:1. You could look it up yourself if you're interested. Me, personally, I think the Bible is bullshit, just as that fellow said. I don't get much involved with the Bible anymore. Yes, okay, yes. Governments rule on fear, says Freebird. That's true. They subjugate you to their fear. And that's what keeps the world from falling apart at the seams. That they protect the politicians who make a Bill Gates, a Nancy Pelosi made $100 million on investments for the COVID virus. Fauci made $500 million on investments for pharmaceutical companies. I think it was 500 million, 50 million or 500 million. Knowing that it was fraudulent to begin with. They are screwing us, and we know it, and they know it, and you can't do much about it. Freebird said, religion has conquered all of the modern countries. And that's, look at what that guy in, what's that country that's fighting Russia? Kyrgyzstan, the guy that's fighting Russia, okay? They've had the ability to go in and sign a peace treaty twice in the last 2 years. And they didn't do it. Politicians from America went to Ukraine. I forget. The big stuff I forget. Thanks, Freebird. Ukraine was offered a peace deal, an allowable peace deal by Putin twice. This is what you don't hear, but it's true. And Jimmy Dore, Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, many people that report the news have showed us where Russia offered a peace deal to Ukraine. If Ukraine would agree not to join NATO, I think it's NATO, because NATO wants to expand their territory up to the Russian border. So twice Russia offered Ukraine a peace deal that would just stop the war in one day. They're not going to win anyway. But it was people right away flew from America and NATO to Ukraine to talk to that guy who runs Ukraine. And he's just one of the most corrupt politicians that ever lived. When he took over Ukraine 12 years ago, he had the opposition party arrested and anybody in the newspaper that opposed his train of thought. 12 years ago this was, placed in prison. And then when he went to outright war, anybody that spoke against him disappeared. Prison, wherever they went, they're gone. Okay? And he gets hundreds of millions of dollars with no accountability at all. None. They give him $100 million. He doesn't have to show where any of it went. Where did it go? To buy weapons, to fight Russia. But not all of it. There are, of the several $100 million they gave that guy, 30% of it's just missing. Because it came back to the politicians in America. It came back to Biden through his son. It went back to Trump, got some. All of them got some of it. It's how they did it. You have, just like that guy, Aussie Outlaw. He thinks he knows stuff, but he didn't even know about the treaty. You guys, I could tell you what Obama did 3 weeks into office. He printed $17 billion in cash. My friend Gary worked for Pitney Bowes, which is the same printing presses that the government, Federal Reserve use. $17 billion in the first 3 to 4 weeks that Obama was in office, all $100 bills. It all disappeared. So did the newspaper articles about it and any accountability of where it went. Well, everybody got paid off with that money to not go against Obama. Can I prove it? I remember what happened. I didn't record everything. Back then, recording stuff from YouTube was a little bit more difficult. But lots of people know about it. All that money just disappeared, and everybody was paid off, and no one fought Obama on anything, right, from one end of his presidency to the other. They said, here's a box full of money. You can take the box. Don't argue the points that I go over, and everything is good. Take the money, argue the points, and nothing will work out well for you. That's true, that I said that he printed $17 billion. But the whole world is corrupt. And you got some moron like Kevin thinking that I'm wrong. You got another guy named Aussie Outlaw that didn't even go through high school and doesn't understand about that treaty. That's a major treaty. It should have been in social studies. We learned about the Treaty of Versailles, the Spanish-American War Treaty, all those different treaties, the 1908, World War I. We learned about all that stuff in school. He doesn't know about that treaty. Why? Because he was trolling me, and then he got blocked. He's defending his country from Russia. Well, you know nothing about Ukraine. I'm not going to educate you. I'm not going to do that with you, like Aussie Outlaw. 8 years ago in Donbas, D-O-N-B-O-S, Donbas, the guy in charge of Ukraine was killing Russian Christians in Donbas 8 years ago. And Russia is trying to save the Christians in Ukraine. Okay? Let's not get involved with politics, because you know nothing. Apparently you know nothing about Ukraine. He's not defending anything. NATO wants to take over his country so they can expand their borders up to Russian territory. You know nothing about politics. You know nothing about Ukraine. You know nothing about Donbas. Look up slaughtered citizens, Christian citizens in Donbas. Go back 8 years, I think. Thousands of them, Christians, were slaughtered by this guy who's in charge of Ukraine now. Thousands, maybe tens of thousands. And that's what, and then he eliminated all opposition. The guy is one of the biggest war criminals that ever lived. Go look it up. Don't argue with me. Go look it up. Why would they be offered a peace deal? They have taken citizens of the Ukraine's country. Yeah, they did. They did. They did that. Russia definitely is going to win, but it's not what you think. Look, what did Ukraine win? Moving past the political aspect of it, Ukraine is destroyed. It's completely devastated. The infrastructure of Ukraine is gone. It will take 30 years, 40 years for them to build back the infrastructure. To what end? How did he benefit the people of his country? He didn't. He didn't benefit anybody. He benefited a few people that are putting the money in their pocket, and the American politicians that are getting kickbacks. And the war machine in America are the people that benefited. His people Millions of people have died or are going to die because of his want. How does a little teeny country beat Russia? Not possible. Not possible on paper. Not possible in the physical world. Putin could have wiped them out using other types of weapons, but he didn't. But Ukraine is destroyed. There's no more infrastructure. There's no power plants. There's no fuel depots. There's no railroads. The bridges are gone. How did that benefit his country? How many millions of people died? You know nothing about politics. I gotta leave. The ignorance is strong here. Okay, keep it simple. Thanks for stopping by. What happened when Russia wanted to move missiles into Cuba? Right, the superpowers got all bent out of shape about that. And they were going to go to war. They were like days away from going to war because we didn't want Russia encroaching on American soil or anywhere near America, which is what Russia, I think you're trying to get the point across. Russia doesn't want NATO encroaching on Russian territory. So if someone looked up Donbas, Christians slaughtered in Donbas, you're going to come to what I said. But to keep it simple, says the ignorance is strong here. Did he look it up? No. Do I have to look it up? I could. But I know what it says. It says what I said it says. So I think Freebird's point is when Russia was putting missiles in Cuba, they were encroaching on American, the borders of America. And we didn't want that. And now the United Nations, NATO, wants to take over Ukraine, work with Ukraine to bring their borders of NATO closer to Russia. And NATO is not necessarily for Russia. NATO wants to take Russia out of the equation altogether. They don't want that. It's a very complicated situation. And you got to understand politics and you got to follow this stuff. This isn't something you could take my word for it because what I said is basically true, or you could say that I'm nuts or the ignorance is big here, but I'm right. Doesn't matter. I'll look up Donbas for you. Okay? How many things do I have to look up? Let's just look up Donbas. And then I got to go. I got things to do. People to talk to. Donbas. I got to find the light. D-U-M-B-U-S, Ukraine, U-K-R-A-I-N, civilians, C-I-V-I-L-I-A-N-S, Christians, let's do that. Donbas, Ukraine, civilians, Christians. Let's copy that. Killed. K-I-L-L-E-D. Ah. I'm not sure what year that happened. I'm looking. See, The algorithm that takes the stuff out that they don't want you to see. And I may have Googled it wrong. Let's see. Well, this just talks about the rights and abuses that Ukraine put on their citizens. See, that Donbas. Maybe I spelled Donbas wrong. I don't even see how I spelled it. Let's see how I did that here. Donbas, Ukraine, civilians, Christians. Did I spell it wrong? And did I Google it wrong? I know that happened. I just saw a documentary on it about 2 weeks ago. Killed. No, I'm not getting there. Let's go here. Let's try this. Christians. I'm not sure how to. They have made it. They have made it not easily searchable. Christians, C-H-R-I-S. Not easily searchable. Christians killed. K-I-O-L. Donbas. D-U-M-B-U-S. Maybe that's it. No. Somebody want to help me with this one? Because I know it exists. I just don't know how to Google it. Okay, let's try this. Christians killed in Ukraine. Nope, I'm not finding it, but I know that it happened. Let's try this one here. Okay, this might be it. Investigators searching through mass burial sites in Ukraine have found evidence that some of the dead were tortured, including bodies with broken limbs and ropes around their neck. "440 graves have been found at the site, but the number of victims is not yet known." There is a thing where thousands of Christians in Donbas were killed 7 or 8 years ago. I'm going to go back to my... Okay, 2014. Okay, let's go back over here. Thanks, DNC. All right, so let's go try this. Ukrainian president burial site contains torture victims. Let's go back here. Christians killed in Ukraine, 2014. I'm not finding it, but it happened. I'll have to go look at Jimmy Dore had it on his with he did a whole 45-minute video on this topic about a month ago. Okay, I'm not going to find it like this, and I'm out of options to try to find it. Donbas, Dambas. Okay, I'll try that. Let's look up Donbas. Donbas Christians. And then if it doesn't come up here, I'll have to find it a different way and do a show just for this. Because this is worthy. Okay, persecution of Christians in Donbas, Donbas. Okay, let's look at this. Persecution of Christians in Donbas, Eastern Ukraine, 2014. I said it was 8 years ago, so that's 9 years ago. Persecution of Christians in Donbas, Eastern Ukraine, 2014. It's in Russian. Okay, so, okay. There is so much talk about religious freedom in the West. Okay, this one here. Download the PDF. I'm not sure if this is the article, but I'm going to give you the link for this. If anybody wants to look it up, they can do that. I'm not going to read all of this. But it did happen. Thousands of Christians, Russian Christians, were slaughtered back in Donbas, back in, apparently it was 2014. Okay? So I'll leave that up for anybody that wants to read it. No, it wasn't the current president. You're right about that. But the current president did remove all his opposition, put them in jail, in gulags about two and a half years ago, when he made a coup to take over the country. That he did do. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to relax for the rest of the evening here. You guys, I'll leave this up. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave. I'm going to put that link in. I'm going to put that link in the description box on my channel. Okay. With the name of the article. I'll put it in the description box of the video. Okay, it's going in there now. Okay, the name of it is Persecution of Christians in the Donbas, Eastern Ukraine. And the link is going to be in the description box. I'm going to save it right now. Anybody interested, you could watch it. Freebird said it was all a ploy. to garnish sympathy. It could be. Anything is possible. I mean, I'm not in privy to the political politics of the world. I don't know if you're talking about the Cuban Missile Crisis or you're talking about Donbas. I'm not sure. I'm not real sure about that. What you're talking about. I'm tired. I'm really tired. I've been talking for 3 hours, which I could go on talking for another 3 hours as well. But it's late here. I lost a lot of sleep a few nights ago. I didn't really eat lunch. I had a piece of cheese. I'm on this stupid diet, man, where I eat 12 eggs a day. And I had meat this morning at 5 o'clock this morning, some pork fried, and 4 eggs. And pretty much that's all I had since 4 o'clock this morning. So I had a big piece of cheese around 1 or 2 o'clock, a big, talking about like a chunk like that. But I have to lose weight. And sitting here without doing any exercise, the doctor doesn't want me to go far. Walking, out of the question. Out of the question. He said, no walking, no swimming. He wants me to stay basically in neutral for 6 months to a year. But that can't happen. But he was really serious about this. I don't know. Apparently the operation was more serious than other people believe, even that I believe. I mean, but sitting here without exercising or walking or moving around, I had to go on this weird diet of 6 eggs in the morning and 6 eggs at night, and every other day a piece of meat, pork, and every other day a cheese in between. But this is hard. 12 eggs a day. And last month I was doing 18 eggs a day with no meat. Yeah, I lost weight though. I lost like 3 kilos in 1 month. 18 eggs a day, no meat, no cheese, no bread, no rice. And sitting without any exercise, I lost 3 kilos. So if I was able to walk around, I'd lose a lot more. Gotta lose weight. Okay, Freebird, DNC. Keep it simple. Thanks for stopping by. Aussie Outlaw, I don't know what was on your mind. I don't care. Don C., I've considered you a worthless troll for a very long time. And the people that you hang out with, Kevin, and the other people that support his channel, I have no use for those people. None whatsoever. So you stick with your people, and I'll stick with mine. Bye-bye, DNC. Thanks again. So, Don C., you've been a troll for years. Just that today you got on my wrong side. So it was nice watching all the stupid stuff that you do on YouTube. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. I'm Ping Permy from Michael Fazio. And I do believe Daisy May said to say hello. She'll be making a guest appearance. Thanks for watching. And, of course, I'm Ping Permy from the Philippines, baby. Bye-bye for now.